All right, hello. All right, we are going to actually just jump right in and get started. Before we do though, however, just make sure that you have please have a block handy. We will use that a couple of times during our practice today, and you may even want to use it more. My name is Kirsten. We are practicing together for about 1 hour. This class is really designed around the core. So we will focus in a few times actually on that particular piece. But the other thing that I have for you today is a theme, and the theme is the pose begins when you want to leave it. There's a flow within our practice today where this may come into your mind a few times, but I'd like you to try and remember that again, the pose begins when you want to leave it. So don't let that scare you. We'll still have fun. And to start, we are going to lay down on our back. So if you will lay all the way back on your back, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our theme today. And so if you will lay back and close your eyes, just find a comfortable position, relaxing your shoulders, your torso, your legs, finding the best position for your arms, bringing a gentle smile to your lips. I have a little story to share with you. So there is a yoga teacher at a studio who starts his mornings by dumping a bucket of cold water over his head. He does this daily through the cold of winter to the warmth of summer. His reason for this practice is that the first moment of extreme discomfort, when the cold water touches his skin in the early morning, that moment is the hardest part of his day. Everything else is easier after that. The pose begins when you want to leave it. This may seem like a message primarily regarding physical discomfort, but it's a reminder that enduring any discomfort, physical or emotional, gives us a greater ability to endure future discomfort. And the truth is that real life has many moments of discomfort that require our presence and attention. We can't always leave discomfort. And this theme is the reminder to practice staying with discomfort on and off the mat. So as you lay here in this place of comfort, do you notice any portion of your body that is feeling particularly uncomfortable here? Are you trying to hold yourself up? There's no need. You have the complete support underneath you to let yourself relax and enjoy and find this comfort for a few more breaths. And now let's continue our practice with the long stretch. So reaching your fingertips in one direction and your toes in the other direction. Make yourself as long as you can here. Knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs. Maybe this first time, draw your nose up to your knees, rounding out through the spine as much as you can. Let's slowly extend one more time. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring your knees into your chest, either head up or keeping your head down. If your head is up, releasing your head back to your mat, and then just rocking here a little side to side or drawing some circles with the knees. And you can draw those circles in the same direction or in opposite directions. And now let's set the soles of the feet to the mat. About hip bone width apart. Arms are alongside you, palms are facing down. Let's press the lower back to the mat. And with that press, notice what is happening with the core, with your abdominals in particular, how the core, the abdominals engage. That's going to be important to us as we flow through practice today. So again, engaging through the abdominals. Now let's begin to peel one vertebra up off the floor. We're bridging all the way up to the shoulders. Once you bridge all the way up, bridge right back down. So think of that articulation of the spine, releasing one vertebra to your mat at a time, coming all the way back down, finding that neutral pelvis. Once you find that neutral pelvis, press the lower back to the mat. Again, feel the core engage, the abdominals engage, and begin to roll yourself back up, bridging all the way up to the shoulders, and again, bridging right back down. Do one more at your own pace. Again, think of that slow articulation, that slow movement of the spine. Controlling the movement with the core, with your core strength. Good, and then once you bridge back down for the last time, hug your knees back into your chest. And then from here, we're going to rock and roll up to seated, or you could bring yourself to the side, press yourself up to seated, and we're actually going to flow right on over to an all fours position. So come to your hands and knees, placing your hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. We're going to move through a couple rounds of cat and cow pose together. So on your inhale, finding your cow pose, tailbone up, chin up. And on your exhale, rounding out through the back, tuck the chin in and the tailbone under. Let's flow one more time like that together. Inhaling, finding cow. And exhaling to find cat. Now release to a flat back. Curl your toes under and lift your knees maybe an inch or two up off your mat. We are going to continue with cat and cow from here. Now, as you flow here, if you decide, nope, I really don't want my knees up off the floor today, feel free to release the knees back down. So just notice what is happening. There's actually a lot more activity through the body if you do have those knees up off the floor. Continue to flow through cat and cow, finding your breath. And there may be a point where you say, the pose begins when I want to leave it, and I want to leave it now. Let's hold on, see if you can do one more. And then releasing the knees back to the mat, let's press back to an extended child's pose. And we are going to practice this round of child's pose with the knees directly underneath. Arms stretched out in front with either the palms facing down or rotating your palms to face up. So with your knees directly underneath you, I'd like you to focus in on the breath and noticing how with the knees underneath that there's that constriction in the belly. So where does the breath go with that constriction of the belly? Maybe you can focus in and breathe through the back side of the body. But again, just trying to focus in on the breath and the constriction of the belly as it is here. And now let's return to all fours. Let's find a cat pose, and we're going to actually hold that cat pose. So rounding out through the spine, again, tucking your chin in and the tailbone under, and think here about pulling your hip bone in toward your chin. So find that full engagement of the abdominals. It's an isometric contraction, just holding in place here. See if you can breathe through the back side of the body here, or just refocus your breath. So you're not belly breathing here. Again, continuing to hold and pull. Feel that constriction or the contraction through the abdominals. Hold one more breath. From here, releasing to either a flat back or even possibly finding that cow pose, again, finding that reverse. And we're going to actually reverse that a little bit more by walking forward and releasing all the way down to the forearms. Slide those legs back, and let's find a Sphinx pose. Now with Sphinx, elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Hands can be palms down to the mat. In fact, that helps with just that drawing back of the forearms and the drawing forward of that heart space. So right here, just noticing, ooh, that might feel really good through that the abdominals, given that you had that isometric contraction and we're holding for a period of time. Good. And then we are actually going to hold here one more breath as we gently release the chin toward the chest. And maybe you hold right here, just a little stretch through the neck. Maybe you gently roll from shoulder to shoulder. Just begin to loosen up a little bit here through the neck. Bring your head back up to center, and we'll slide our hands underneath the shoulders, pressing up to a modified plank pose. Let's curl the toes under, and let's find our first down dog. So in your down dog, it might feel good to walk the dog, gently pressing one heel toward the floor at a time. Your feet are hip bone width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Relax your head between your arms. Let's slowly begin to walk our hands and our feet together to find a standing forward bend. And we are going to pause here in standing forward bend just for a couple of breaths, because I'd like you to really focus in on the gentle release of those hamstrings. So it might be that you walk your feet a little further apart if you're feeling pretty tight through the hamstrings, bend the knees a little bit extra. So finding that, or you could use your block, since we do have a block here. The arms you could cradle, gently sway from side to side. You could clasp your hands behind your back and release your arms toward the front of your mat, or maybe toward the ceiling. Maybe they don't come very high up off the back at all. That's all right. So just finding what feels real good here for you. And we'll hold one more breath. Good. Now we are slowly going to roll up one vertebra at a time. Let's place our hands to our thighs for support. Gently rolling up. Good. Once you are all the way up, let's do just a little bit more movement for the spine. So with your feet about hip bone width apart, let's inhale the arms up. On your exhale, flow over to your right. Inhale to come back up to center, and exhale, flow to your left. One more time in each direction. Inhale, come center. Exhale, flow to your right. Now right here, maybe stay. Grabbing that left wrist with your right hand is an option. Dropping the shoulder in may feel good. Maybe focus a little bit more on the lat. You could roll that shoulder back if that feels better. Little lateral movement. And we'll switch to that other side. So when you are ready, come back up to center, and we'll go to that other side. And again, finding what you feel you might need on this side. Try to keep your weight evenly distributed through your feet. Perfect. Let's bring the arms back up and back down to our sides. All right, so we'll move to the front end of the mat. We are going to work a little bit, or warm up a little bit more, and then we'll move through our flows for today. So feet hip bone width apart, let's inhale the arms up. On your exhale, find a back bend here, open up. So really think about keeping the length through the back body, through the spine, especially those lower vertebrae. Stay nice and long. Inhale to lengthen up, dive forward on your exhale. Now inhale to a half lift. Let's send the arms back like our airplane wings. And right here, remember that tuck that we did on the floor where we tilted and pressed the lower back to the mat? Let's do that same thing here. Find that engagement through the abdominals, through the core, and then fold yourself forward. We have 2 more just like that. Inhale, half lift, sending the arms back, core strong, and exhale to fold. We'll do 1 more. Inhale, half lift, sending the arms back, soft bend in the knees, and exhale to fold. Stepping back to your plank pose, the top of a push-up. Let's pause right here. So that same engagement that you have when you were on your back, that first little bit that we did, find that again here. So it might be just a little teeny tuck, a little press up, so to speak. So think about where you were on your back, finding that core strength here. Perfect. And then let's shift our weight forward. Elbows locked into the side body. Feel free to drop the knees if you need to. We're lowering down to the mat. On your inhale, find your back bend. So we practiced a Sphinx pose. That might be where you need to be. Cobra, up dog, both options as well. Lower all the way back down to your mat. We're pressing up to a modified plank or a plank pose. So pressing up and then finding down dog from here. Look to the front end of your mat, travel forward. Inhale, half lift, sending the arms back. Core strong, find that little engagement through that lower abdominals. Exhale to fold, or inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, lengthen up, bring your arms down to your side. Before I go on, because I just said lower abdominals, let me just tell you, we have one really long abdominal muscle. There's not, it's all one thing. It's called the rectus abdominis. So when I say lower abdominals, it's not that it's a separate section, but it is something that we can really focus in on, because sometimes it's just, we allow it to kind of relax. So just know that there is one long muscle here. All right. From here, let's inhale the arms up, exhale, back bend. Inhale, lengthen up, dive forward on your exhale. Now, inhale to a half lift. If you'll grab your block with this half lift, find that core engagement right here. And we are going to do a little tricep work. So you're pressing, alternating, pressing back with that block. Now with each press back, try and really engage that tricep muscle, the back of the arm. So as you press back, squeeze. Don't lose the core strength, that core engagement. Keep flowing back and in. You can choose to go a little more quickly. You could slow things down. Do just a couple more here. And then releasing the block down, folding yourself forward, stepping back to your plank pose. But this time from your plank, let's shift and find down dog right away. From your down dog, inhale to come up onto the toes. We're going to roll ourselves out to our plank. So rolling out one vertebra at a time. Now, once you arrive in plank, find that core engagement. Maybe this is where you stay. If you feel like you have the ability with your back, however your back feels here, to release your hips down toward the mat and find up dog from here. Feel free to make that change. You could release your feet so that the tops of the feet are to the mat. And then from here, find that core strength as you lift up and roll yourself back out to down dog. So we'll flow through that one more time, coming up onto the toes, rolling out to your plank. Head will be the last thing that comes up. Maybe you stay here in plank. Maybe you allow the hips to sink, but feel your core engage, right? So the abdominals stay engaged. And then lifting up, rolling back. From down dog, inhale the right leg up. On your exhale, bring your right knee into center. Look between your hands and gently place that right foot there. So we're going to find a crescent lunge here. On your inhale, rise all the way up, crescent lunge. So in your crescent lunge, your feet are still hip bone width apart. So find that good solid base. Your right knee and right ankle are aligned. Let's hinge forward. With that hinge, what happens with the core? Keep the core engagement here. We're sending the arms back like those airplane wings that we practiced earlier. And on your inhale, come back to your arrow lunge. Take a full breath. On your exhale, reach the arms back, airplane wings. Inhale to lift just to arrow lunge. So the body's still at an angle. And then we're releasing the arms, reaching them back, airplane wings. Inhale to bring them back up by your ears. And exhale to release them back. All right, airplane wings is where we're holding our arms. Find a spot in front of you that is not moving. And when you're ready, we are lifting off to find a warrior three and the variation of that. So as you lift off here, that left foot can be maybe slightly up off the mat, maybe a little bit more. You choose where you are, where you need to be at this point in your practice. We are adding some movement here. Take a full breath, and then we are going to slowly bring the knee in and the arms up. All right, full breath here, and on your exhale, send the arms and the leg back. Slow movement, control. Inhale to bring the knee in and arms up. And exhale to send the leg back. As you send that leg back, what happens? Are you finding that core strength? I know that right leg is speaking to you, but continue to find that strength through the core. On your inhale, come back up, finding your knee up, arms up, and exhale to send the arms back, leg back. Now from here, gently touch down, find this variation of arrow lunge. Good, just pausing right here. And now hands down around your right foot back to join your left. Find your down dog. On your inhale, sweep the left leg up. Exhale to bring the knee in and step the foot through. Inhale to rise up, crescent lunge. So pausing right here, once again, finding that strong base. And then we're going to add or change up the upper body. So feel that back leg engaged, the front leg engaged, and when you're ready, do that slight hinge forward. So think of a diagonal line from the fingertips down to the end of your right foot. Now take your full breath in. On your exhale, sweep the arms back, airplane wings. Inhale to sweep them up, arrow lunge. Exhale to sweep them back. Good, two more like that. Inhale, come up. And exhale to sweep them back. And last one, inhale. Exhale to sweep them back. And this is where we'll pause. Get ready for this variation of warrior three. So set your mind, relax your mind. Find that spot that you can focus on. When you're ready, we'll lift off. Energize that right leg. Press through the sole of the foot. Find your core engagement here. Let's take our full breath. And then slowly, we're just going to transition to our knee up and arms up. Pause here. Now let's begin to flow with our breath. Take your full breath in, and on your exhale, sweep the arms back and the leg back. Inhale, bring your knee in, arms up. Exhale to sweep back. Two more just like that. Inhale. Exhale, flow back, arms back, leg back. And we have one more. Inhale, knee in, arms up. And exhale, send the leg back, send the arms back, pause right here, and gently touch down for this variation of arrow lunge. Just pausing here, tuning into the sensations that you feel throughout your body. Hands down around your left foot back to join your right, find down dog. Now you can choose to flow like plank up dog, down dog like normal, or you could find this flow where you're coming up onto the toes, rolling out to your plank, From plank, maybe letting the hips sink. Keep that core strength. And then rolling back to your down dog. You decide. And if you choose, you could do one more round, or you could just rest in down dog, or drop the knees and gently rest in child's pose. We'll meet eventually back in down dog, but take a couple of breaths wherever you need to take a couple of breaths. Maybe grab some water. All right, let's meet back in down dog. Now we are going to do a couple of things, specific things for the core, although you'll probably feel this in your upper body, actually throughout the whole body. This is a really good conditioning for the entire body, specific to the arms and the core though. Inhale the right leg up. On your exhale, bring your right knee into your right elbow. All right, pause right here. What's going on with that left leg? Really engage through that left leg. You know that the core is working. You know that the arms are working. Pretend like that right knee is on an elevator. The elevator is going to drop down to the wrist and back up to the knee. Down to the wrist, back up to the knee. Two more. Down to the wrist, back up to the knee, and last one. And back up to the knee. Send the leg all the way up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale to bring the knee in center. Look between your hands. Gently place that right foot there. Left foot turns on its side. Window the arms up, warrior two. Rotate your palms to face up, external rotation for the shoulders. Find this really good, good length between the legs. Nice strong stance in warrior two. We're going to change it up though, right as we get settled in here. Straighten out through that front leg. Take a full breath in. On your exhale, reach toward the front of your mat, and let's fold into triangle. Now in triangle, I'd like you to not brace. So if you're used to placing your hand to your shin or to a block, try instead to maybe even just tap the outside of your hand to the inside of your leg. So no bracing. So see what's going on here through the core. Make sure there's a soft bend in that knee. Breathe. And just explore here. Stay here, see what happens. The pose begins when you want to leave it. Beautiful. Now slowly begin to come back up. We are going to rotate our body toward the front of our mat. We'll slide the back foot in so that there's about 2.5 to 3 feet between your heels. Your left toes are facing up toward the left upper corner of your mat. Right here, we are going to hinge forward and send those arms back like we've been practicing, airplane wings. So that right knee, there's a slight bend in the knee. Notice here what's happening with the core. So that same engagement that we've been practicing a few times now, it's like your lower back is pressed to the mat. Think of that first little bit that we did. Try and find that same sensation here. Arms are back, unless you'd like a little bit more for the core, then maybe send the arms forward. That longer lever will require more from the core. And now slowly, we're transitioning to revolved warrior. So keep that slight bend in the right knee. Send those left fingertips down toward the mat, the right arm up toward the mat. Again, we aren't going to touch down. So no bracing on your block or on the floor. Find the strength of your core to twist the body. The pose begins when you want to leave it. Stay here, see what happens. Find those, see what sensations you're feeling here. What's your mind saying to you? Stay with discomfort. All right, our last thing here is a half moon pose. So right here, maybe you begin to, and no bracing, by the way. All right, so I know that right leg may be speaking to you. Begin to send that left leg up into the air. And maybe this is where you stay with the chest facing down. Maybe you can begin to rotate so that you're opening up toward the left side, right fingertips reaching toward the ground, so hovering half moon. Strong through that left leg. All right, now we are gently returning to a lunge. Just take your time to get there. And then let's send that right leg back to join the left. Turn to face the right long edge of your mat. Send the right arm up into the air. Side plank. So in your side plank right here, your feet can be stacked. You could have one foot in front of the other. Left hand is underneath that left shoulder. Press your hips up into the air. Hold on one more breath here. And then let's find our plank pose. Gently press back to down dog. And let's pause right here. And maybe you need a couple of breaths here. Feel free to find those really big releasing breaths. Inhaling deeply through the nose and then sighing it out through the mouth. You could also take a child's pose here. And while we pause for another breath or so, let me just share that the first flow that we did was really intended to focus in a little bit more on that long muscle along the front of the body. This particular flow, we're trying to focus in a little bit more on the obliques. And then of course, there's always some back strengthening going on in many of these poses. So that long muscle along your spine, the erector spinae, all working in this flow. All right, so let's prepare for the other side. Let's meet back in down dog, and we'll start here with inhaling the left leg up. On your exhale, bring your left knee into your left elbow. Pause right here. What is going on? What sensations are you feeling here? And then finding your little elevator for your knee, dropping it down toward the wrist, back up to the knee. Up to the elbow, sorry, down to the wrist, up to the elbow. I don't even know what I said the last time around, now that I'm thinking about it. Hopefully I was saying down to the wrist and up to the elbow, and we have one more. And then once you finalize that, send that left leg all the way up and back. Take a full breath in. On your exhale, bring your knee in center. Look between your hands and gently place that left foot there. Turn your right foot on its side and rotate, coming all the way up, warrior two. All right, I'm going to turn and face you. My left leg is forward, right leg is back. Finding, again, your warrior two here, rotating your palms to face up, really externally rotating through the shoulders and opening up. Perfect. All right, from here, straighten out through that front leg. Take a full breath. Exhale to reach toward the front of your mat and fold into triangle without bracing. So again, your left leg is forward. I'm going to shift now again here. Keep breathing. Finding the strength through your core. Your legs are both strong as well. But if you are used to bracing, I know this again requires more from your core. Hold one more breath. Perfect. All right, now we are turning coming all the way up. Turn your upper body to face the front of your mat and slide your back foot in so that again, there's about 2.5 to 3 feet between your heels. Your right toes are facing up toward the right upper corner of your mat. Hips are square to the front of your mat. Let's send the arms back here and hinge forward from the hip. As you hinge forward, find your core engagement. Long through the head, the crown of the head, reaching back through the tailbone. That left hip may want to come forward. Keep sending it back. You may even want to press your thumb into your hip crease. All right, revolved triangle. When you are ready, we'll begin to send the right fingertips down toward the mat, Left arm extends up into the air, and it may feel really different. Like you really can't get as much of a twist without that bracing. Just see what sensations you have here as you hold, and really try to find that core strength to hold the body in place. Good, we have a couple more breaths to hold here. Again, just stay, see what happens. Perfect, now returning to center and preparing yourself for this last pose, standing pose. So we are going to find our balance, and you may just want to start here with your warrior 3, and that might be enough. If you feel like you may have the option to send that left arm down and the right arm up for hovering half moon, feel free to go for it. Right leg is engaged and strong, core is strong. We are slowly returning to a lunge. Just take your time to get there. Once you are there, send that left leg back and turn the body to face the right arm down, left arm up for side plank. Again, the pose begins when you want to leave it. Find that strength here, because you know you have it. The option is to drop that right knee to the mat underneath that right hip. You are welcome to do that at any time. One more breath only. Finding plank. You are welcome to flow here if you'd like. You could move right to down dog. You could move to a child's pose. We are actually going to meet in child's pose. So gently drop your knees, maybe widen your knees toward the sides of your mat, big toes together. Again, palms down or rotating your palms to face up. All right, let's meet in a seated position. So send your legs straight out in front of you to the front of your mat and press your legs together, press your legs toward the mat. Make sure you have space behind you to roll back. We are going to do a core flow, an abdominal flow here. And it will require us to go down and up. So certainly if you feel like that's not agreeable to your back or just doesn't work quite well for you, feel free to make any changes. One thing that you may want to do, you could bend your knees a little extra, and especially as we're going down and rolling up, grabbing to the back of the legs for an assist. Another option would be to put a yoga strap around the leg, or around the feet, and bring use the strap. I don't find that to be as convenient, so that's why I didn't have you grab a strap, but it is an option. All right, so right here, finding our staff pose. And it's like, I think Stacy says this well, a little love punch in that lower abdominal area. And think of just that little C shape. So it's a little love tap, and you'll begin to roll down. And again, this is one vertebra at a time. So think of pressing your legs together, pressing your legs to the floor, controlling that movement all the way back. Good, and then once you are all the way back, do a nice long stretch. Fingertips reaching in one direction and your toes in the other. Now bring your arms up over the shoulders. We'll begin to roll up one vertebra at a time. This is where you may decide you need a little support. So we don't want to jerk up. We really want to find that strength here. So if that means grabbing to the legs to give yourself an assist, it's all right. And actually, I will tell you, this little flow is Some of it's from more Pilates than it is from yoga. So we are going to stretch forward here and just do a little hamstring, a little back of the back line of the body stretch. And then returning to staff pose, beginning initially by sitting up nice and tall. And then it's that little C, little left tap in the lower abdominals. Begin to roll yourself down. Good, rolling all the way down, sending the arms long once you do. Now bring your arms alongside you with your palms facing down. We're going to bring the legs into the air. You could do that one at a time or both legs together. So lifting the legs up. And then from here, bend your knees and send your arms out to the side. So we'll bend those knees in a 90-degree shape. Gently drop your knees over to that left side. And you could go over halfway, quarter of the way, 3/4 of the way if it feels all right on your back. And then use your core strength to guide the legs back to center. And then we'll do the same thing going in the other direction, gently dropping the knees to the right. Core strength to bring your legs back to center. So we'll keep going from side to side. It is really easy to just let momentum guide the legs or make the legs go back and forth. I really encourage you to focus in on the strength of your core to bring your legs back to center. Now, if things are going okay here, you may want to extend the legs straighter. That requires more from your core. It also requires more from your back. So again, making sure that that is agreeable, just testing the waters. You don't have to go over very far. In fact, again, you decide how far you go from side to side, but just find that strength through the core as you bring your legs back into center. We're continuing to go at our pace, our own paces. So keep flowing a couple more times, make sure you even things out, and then we'll meet back in the center. And once you have your legs center, again, one leg at a time or both legs together back down to the mat. Send the arms back up over the shoulders and we'll begin to roll up. So squeeze your legs in together, press your legs to the mat. Oh, yeah, and your abdominals will make it a little more tired as we go. So we are going to flow, so feel free to stretch forward here, finding that nice long stretch. We are going to flow back again, but before we do, we are going to add something in, and I just want to talk to you about it before we get there. So once we are back on our backs, and we do our little side to side for oblique work, and for other things too, but a lot oblique. So again, let me show you. We're going to keep our focus up to the ceiling as we find a plow pose. So I just want to make sure that you don't have to look forward at me. We're going to find plow from there, and then we'll do a little bit more flowing. So keep your focus straight up to the ceiling. All right, so let's meet again, legs extended, arms extended, and we'll begin our roll down. Think of making an indentation with each vertebra as you roll all the way down. Send the arms long once you're there, and then bring your arms out to the, or up and then down to your side for support as you guide your legs up, either one at a time or both legs together. And then sending your arms out to the side for support, legs either straight or bent. We'll bring the legs over to each side, finding that strength again through the core to guide the legs back to center. So do maybe 4 or 6, let's do 6. 6 total. So 3 to each side, finding your pace. We'll meet again in the center. Good, and then once you find center here, bring your arms back alongside you. The focus remains straight up to the ceiling. Feel free to stay right here in this inversion if you decide that that might be better for you today. Otherwise, pressing the hips up, placing the hands to the lower part of the back, guiding the legs back. Stay nice and long through the neck, maybe tapping those toes behind you, and then sending the arms back out onto your mat. Let's begin to guide the vertebrae back to the mat, one at a time. Good. Once you are all the way down here, or back, I guess, with your legs up into the air, I should say, then either one leg at a time or both legs together, go back down to your mat. And let's do a long stretch. Fingertips reaching in one direction, your toes reaching in the other. Hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Maybe rock. Maybe draw those circles again. Those circles don't have to go in the same direction. If you'd like to do a little opposite work, knees come in together and go out together at the same time. Set the soles of your feet to your mat. And let's practice bridge pose before we actually do a little bit extra with bridge. So we'll find our bridge pose here by pressing the hips up into the air. So your feet are hip bone width apart. You're pressing your hips up. And maybe this is where you stay in a lower bridge. Maybe you guide your shoulders underneath you and open up a little bit more through the front body. Press the soles of the feet to your mat. If you're feeling any discomfort in your knees, feel free to make some changes with where the feet are positioned. But make sure you're pressing fully through the feet and find that back engagement. So strengthening all up and down the back body, chin away from your chest, nice long neck. And now we'll gently release our bridge. Hug your knees into your chest. And then set the soles of your feet back to your mat. Cross your right ankle over your left, arms alongside you. Press your hips up into the air for this modified version of bridge pose. Set the bottom back to your bottom, back to your mat. And let's bring the left knee in to find a reclined pigeon pose. So we are going to pause right here for a few breaths. Just notice what's happening in your upper body here as you hold. Do you feel any tightness or any tension? Especially if you have to really reach for the leg. It might be that instead of grabbing to the back of the leg, that you just dynamically push that left knee into the right ankle, or that you just keep the sole of the left foot to the mat and keep this figure 4 in that position. All right, hold here one more full breath. Now set the sole of your left foot to your mat. Cross your right leg all the way over your left leg. Send your arms out to the side. Gently shift your hips over to that right edge of your mat, and we'll drop our cross legs gently over to the left. Now, if this is too much on your back, feel free to uncross, just setting the right leg on top of the left. Turning to look to your right. Slowly bring your cross legs back to center. Don't uncross. Keep that right leg over your left and shift your hips now toward the left edge of your mat. Again, keeping this same cross, gently drop your legs over to that right side. Now, this is a different stretch for that left hip and the left knee. Again, if it doesn't feel quite right, feel free to come back to center. But this just is something different, something to keep us balanced. We generally go in the same direction all the time. So let's do a little bit of an internal look, focus on the hip and the knee. Let's return to center and let's reset. So finding that neutral pelvis and the legs lined up about hip bone width apart. Once everything feels back to where you started the first time, bring the left ankle above the right knee and press the hips up into the air. Gently drop your hips back to the mat, and let's find Reclined Pigeon. So if you decide that you want to keep the sole of the right foot to the mat, absolutely fine. Especially if you find any tension or tightness in the shoulders and neck as a result of pulling the leg in. Feel free here, as we hold for a couple more breaths, to explore a little bit more. So what happens if you gently add a little bit of extra oomph, little pressure against that left knee with your left elbow? How does that feel? Can you draw the knee in a little bit closer? Can you relax completely through the shoulders and neck? Setting the sole of your right foot to your mat, cross your left leg all the way over your right. Shift your hips a little toward the right edge of the mat. No, sorry, left edge of the mat. Sorry about that. Just a momentary lapse of remembering of what's going on. Sorry about that. All right, we are shifting and over to the left and dropping the knees to the right. Turning to look to your left. Slowly bring cross legs back to center. Shift your hips now to a little toward the right edge of your mat. Keep the same cross as you gently drop your legs over to the left. And now slowly bring your legs back up to center, uncross. Maybe shake, windshield wiper the legs, maybe a happy baby pose. And that happy baby pose, maybe you do a little rock here and extend through the legs as you rock from side to side. So feel free, yogi's choice, whatever else you might need before we move into our final poses. So if you needed a little more twist on one side, feel free again. You've got a little flexibility here to find whatever else you may need to practice or may want to practice before we move into our final poses. And then let's begin to make our way to our final pose. So I encourage you to stay on your back. I'm going to stay in a seated position so I can keep my eyes on you, so to speak. So laying all the way back onto your mat or staying on your back and finding the most comfortable position for you. Maybe that's extending your legs down toward the bottom corners of your mat. Maybe the soles of the feet connect and you allow the knees to drop out to the side, or the soles of the feet to connect with the mat, walk the mat width apart, drop your knees in toward each other. Arms can be alongside you, palms facing up. Maybe they're straight out to the side or even up overhead. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. There are so many options, but finding the best shape for you for these final few minutes. This last little bit of a yoga class is really what sets yoga apart. There are many reasons that yoga is set apart from other types of fitness, but this in particular, this piece is so unique. And it's just so important taking these last few minutes of time for you. Letting all those great things that you did for your body, letting them all sink in. The lengthening, the strengthening. Bring that gentle smile back to your lips. Soften the space between your eyebrows. And bring your awareness to your breath. That gentle flow of your breath. Nothing to force. And as you settle into the sweet bliss of Savasana, connect again to the challenging moments of our practice, those that you stayed present for with grace. And now, bring some gentle movement back to the body. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes or roll through the wrists and ankles, maybe a long stretch. We'll slowly make our way to a comfortable seated posture. Some people prefer that direct flight up, but feel free to roll to your side and slowly make your way up. Let's take one more big deep breath in together. On your inhale, stretch your arms up. On your exhale, bring your hands to your heart. I have a quote here from Pema Chandran. When we are able to stay even a moment with uncomfortable energy, we gradually learn not to fear it. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you. Enjoy your day.